Thank you everyone for having me today. My name's Sophie and I'm one of the senior lawyers at Refugee Legal, and I'm also heading up the legal side of what we're calling our Afghanistan clinic. So that's a service that we have initiated to provide help specifically to people who come from Afghanistan or who have family members or friends in Afghanistan and require advice about their own legal situation or their family member's situation. And I thought what I would do today was to explain a little bit about the general service that Refugee Legal provides to people and can provide to people, and then give you some more detailed information about our Afghanistan service that we have set up. Refugee Legal is what's called a community legal service. So we are a free legal centre that provides advice and assistance to anyone over the telephone, and we provide more ongoing assistance to people who are from disadvantaged backgrounds, who are migrants and who are refugees, and require ongoing assistance. And we have a number of different services that we run that provide different types of assistance depending on an individual person's circumstance. The main way that people access our service is by calling our telephone advice line. Our telephone advice line operates on Wednesdays and Fridays, and it's open to anyone to call and register for a call with a lawyer. The lawyer will then ask questions to have an understanding of the person's situation, and then will provide some advice and may book that person in for a further appointment depending on what their situation is. So that is our standard service that, as I said, is open for everyone. In response to the recent Taliban takeover of Afghanistan and the withdrawal of the US and coalition forces troops, we have also set up another service that is specifically for to provide assistance to people who are from Afghanistan or in Afghanistan. We have set up a hotline that people can call to register for a phone advice call. The hotline is open every day, 9 till 5. Now, in terms of the illegal assistance that we are providing to people who are impacted by the crisis in Afghanistan, so we are providing advice to people who are currently in Afghanistan and people who are in Australia. People who are in Afghanistan, we have provided advice and assistance in two ways. So one is that we have partnered with some NGOs and we have received direct referrals from them, and we're providing assistance through them. So that's one part of the assistance that we are providing. But what is more relevant probably for all of you is that we are providing application advice and assistance for people who are here in Australia but who have family members in Afghanistan, and the person here in Australia is wanting to help that person to apply for a visa to come to Australia. So the types of visas that are usually most appropriate for this group of people are in what's called the Offshore Humanitarian Visa Program. And there is a specific application form that is needed for people who are in Afghanistan, who would be the visa applicant. And then there are other requirements as well. But we can also help people in Australia. So if any of you or any of your friends or family members in Australia have questions about your own visa status, have questions about applying for citizenship, have questions about situations where maybe someone has committed a criminal offence and how might that affect their visa, we can provide advice and assistance about those things. Or if you know people, or someone has experienced family violence and they're worried about how that might impact on their visa, we can also provide advice and assistance about that. We can also provide advice and assistance about partner visas and other types of family reunion visas. We usually don't provide full advice about visas like skilled visas or student visas, but we can refer you to places where you can get more advice and assistance about those types of visas. The Afghanistan clinics, if you have a family member who is still in Afghanistan, or maybe they have made it to another country like Pakistan or Iran, one of the neighboring countries, we can help you to prepare an application for them for a visa in the Refugee and Special Humanitarian Program. What you would need to do if you would like assistance with this is you need to call our hotline first. You will speak with one of our administrative volunteers who will take your name and your contact details, and they will also ask you if you need an interpreter. And then following that, about 1 to 2, or it's probably around about 2 weeks after you register for the call, you will receive a call back from a lawyer who will be able to give you more detailed advice about your situation or your family's situation. And they will ask you questions about the situation of your family members or yourself, if it's about yourself, to determine how we can best help you. And if you are calling about your family in Afghanistan and how you could bring them to Australia, then we can book you into our clinic for assistance. The first step is that we can help people over the phone to complete the application forms that are necessary for the visa application. So if you are confident to fill out the application forms yourself, that's great. And we encourage you to fill them out yourself before the appointment in as much detail as you can, and talk to your family member overseas to get all of the information from your family member. If you can't use the internet, or the person who's calling doesn't know how to fill out a document like that online, that is fine. We can help with that. We can also email you the application forms, or for people who can't access email, we can send them by post. If you aren't able to fill out the application forms yourself and you need our assistance, you will have a booking with one of our what are called paralegals. So these are like usually lawyers who have finished their law degree, but they haven't got admitted as a lawyer. So they're not, they've got all of the legal skills, but they haven't got the piece of paper saying they can give legal advice or assistance yet. So they can help with jobs that are legal jobs, but they just can't give advice. So they can help to fill out the forms with you and get all of the information of your family member or family members in the form. And they can also give you information about what are the other things that you would need to gather to support the application. When you have had that appointment, we call it our pre-fill appointment, then we will send you either by post or by email the forms and a list of documents that you will need to get together before you have an appointment with a lawyer. Now, we understand that some people will be able to get these documents and some people won't. We suggest that you do the best that you can, because the more information and the more supporting documents that you can get for the application, to show the risk of harm that the family members are at in Afghanistan, the stronger the application will be. So once you have had that appointment, then you would receive a booking for an appointment with a lawyer. The lawyer will review the forms and documents for you and help you to prepare a supporting statement to go with the application for your family members. So that is a statement that says a little bit about your family members and their risk of harm that they face, but it also has information about you as the Australian, the person in Australia, the Australian visa holder, and it explains how you and your family members could support the family if they came to Australia and how you would do that. So for example, the statement might talk about the job that you have, the home that you have. You would pick them up from the airport. You can have your family come and stay with you in your home. You've got lots of other relatives in Australia who will provide support and assistance. Those are just some examples. At the completion of that appointment, we aim for you to have the application forms and statement ready, and then you will receive instructions on how to lodge the application, so how to send that application to the Department of Home Affairs. So that's a basic summary of the process that we have set up to help people to make applications for their family members. Now, if through the process you have questions, you can ask the lawyer, you can ask the paralegal, and even after you've lodged the application, if you have more questions, you are welcome to call us again and to ask those further questions that you have. Now, I think there were some questions about what happens once an application is lodged. So there are two ways in which the Department of Home Affairs is receiving these types of application at the moment. For people, for visa applicants, so these are the overseas family members who are still in Afghanistan, the application would be for what is called an in-country visa, and the visa subclass is subclass 201. And those applications at the moment have to be lodged by post, by posting the application to the Australian Embassy in Amman, Jordan. And they are the Australian Embassy who is responsible for processing those visa applications. If the application is for what's called a Global Special Humanitarian Visa, which is a subclass 202, and that is a visa for someone who is outside Afghanistan. So maybe they're in Pakistan or Iran or another country that is not, that they're not able to get refugee status in. Those applications can be lodged online. And those applications need to have what's called a proposer. So they need to have someone who is an Australian permanent resident or citizen propose the application and say that I know this person and this is how I'm connected to this person, and I will help this person when they get to Australia. We, if your family members fall into that category, we can provide more detailed and personalised advice about your own situation and the implications on your own visa, if you're a visa holder, of putting in a proposal form with the application. There are some people who can't be proposers, and that it depends on your visa status. So if you are holding a CHEV or a TPV visa, you can't be a proposer, but you could still assist your family members to prepare an application for an in-country visa if they are in Afghanistan. If they are outside Afghanistan, it may still be worthwhile assisting them, but you would need to find someone who could act as the proposer. So whether you had another friend or family member here in Australia who might be willing and able to do that. And we can give advice about those things during the telephone advice call. So you can ask any questions you have about those sorts of things during that call. Now, once the application is lodged with the Department of Home Affairs, you will receive an acknowledgement letter from the department saying, yes, we have lodged the application and it is for, you know, these family members with their details. At the moment, there is quite a long delay between when an application is lodged and when people are getting the acknowledgement letter. And there seems to be not very consistent. So some people are getting the letter 2 to 3 weeks later, and some people are waiting longer before they get the acknowledgement letter. And we understand that this is just because the Department of Home Affairs has been overwhelmed. So they've received thousands and thousands of applications from Afghan nationals because of the situation that has been occurring and is occurring in Afghanistan. So you can expect some delay. And it doesn't mean that the application has been lodged incorrectly or that it hasn't been received. Although if you do have concerns about that, it is worthwhile checking. If you think that you didn't lodge it properly, or you think that you're worried that the department hasn't received it, you can always check. You can contact the Department of Home Affairs directly, which some people have had luck getting through on the phone line, other people haven't. Once again, there are very long delays at the moment because of the number of applications that have been received. In terms of how long is the whole process from when an application is lodged until when a decision is made, we don't know the answer to that. Sometimes it has been quick and sometimes it has been many years. We do know that the Department of Home Affairs has said to us that they are encouraging people to lodge these applications, and they are prioritising applications for people from Afghanistan at the moment. But we still don't have any clear idea about how long things will take. As I said, the department has told us that applications from Afghan nationals are being prioritised. And within that, the type of applications that they are looking at well, they will look at all applications, of course, but in terms of which applications are more likely to succeed, that would be applications where there are clear links to Australia, applications for women and children, and applications from ethnic minorities. So those are sort of the biggest groups where the department's seeing claims put forward, and they're the groups of people that they are focusing on at the moment, because they have decided that those are the groups of people that are the most at risk at this time. In terms of whether anyone can, I guess, give the application more priority or how to make the application get priority, the only way that this can be done is by the Department of Home Affairs. So whether you complete an application yourself and lodge it yourself, or whether you have assistance from a community legal centre like Refugee Legal, or whether you get assistance from a private lawyer or a private migration agent, it's not going to increase the chance of success. It's not going to give you a greater chance at being prioritised by the Department of Home Affairs. The advantage of having legal advice and assistance is that you should receive advice about what to put in the application so that you can put forward the strongest application possible. But certainly no individual lawyer or migration agent can sort of, I guess, advocate with the Department of Home Affairs to get priority processing in that way. It really, that the department will be looking at each application individually. So let me just quickly have a look at my slides and see if there's anything more on that I need to talk to you about. Can you see the screen that says contact details? Is that what's come up now?
No, we still see the diary.
Okay, let me just change that around.
Thank you. There was just a question in the chat about whether to receive legal advice is free with Refugee Legal.
Yes,
there's a cost.
There's no cost for people to access our service. So as I said before, we are what's called a community legal service, and all of the work that we do is free of charge. Now that means, of course, that there are lots of people who want help from us. And so there can be wait times. So when you call us, you can expect that you will have to wait for a call back, but we will call you back. And in terms of assistance through the Afghanistan clinic, that's open to anyone at the moment. And if you need and you want advice about family members overseas, we are happy to provide that to you, no matter what your current circumstances are.
Sophie, there's also a question saying whether you have any advice on how much time this process will take. Do you have any clarity on that?
Unfortunately, we don't. Well, sorry, just to ask, to clarify, I assume that question is asking how long the visa application process will take from when an application is lodged with the Department of Home Affairs to when a visa is potentially granted. We don't know how long that might take. With the refugee and special humanitarian program, the government makes an allocation of visa places every year, and they have said for this year 13,750. They have said that 3,000 will be put aside for Afghan nationals, but at this time we don't know whether there are going to be more visas. The government hasn't given us any guidance yet on whether they're going to be more than that. What the government has said, though, is that people should apply, because even though there is no guarantee, if you don't put in an application, then you don't have any chance. And that's our advice to people as well. We think that you should put in an application for your family members if you believe they are at risk, because that is the only chance to get one of these kinds of visas. If you don't put in the application, then there's no chance.
If you wanted to add documents to an application that's already been sent, is that possible?
Absolutely. And I know some people have lodged applications for family members a number of years ago, and those applications are still pending. If you have the acknowledgement letter, which will have a file number, you can communicate with the Department of Home Affairs using that file number, and add any additional supporting documents or supporting information to that application.